I'll just say not guilty. I didn't do anything wrong. Did nothing wrong. Presidential Records Act. It's not even a criminal event. There is no criminality here. It's ridiculous. And these people, look, they're using it as election interference. They're using it to get elected. They think that if they can damage somebody's reputation, they can do it. This is like Stalinist, whatever. This is the worst. Nobody ever thought this could happen in our country. And don't forget, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by a lot.
So yes, Donald Trump, in one of his last media appearances before the arraignment, says that he is going to plead not guilty. Not exactly a shocker there. Also, not necessarily shocking that he did. You know, SNL has this guy who does their Trump impressions or whatever, and he does like a sequence of sketches where he just jumps from topic to topic to topic. I've never loved it as an impression of Donald Trump, but right there, that's basically what Trump was doing. It was like he had a list of his talking points that he needed to get to, and he also really needed to use the bathroom, so he was under some time constraints. I got the most votes, it's Stalinist, they're coming after me. Like he just ran through all of it. His heart didn't really seem to be in it right there. But it's a big day. It's a big day for Donald Trump. It's a big day for the country. I also think it's important for us to just pause for a second and take stock of where we're at. It's easy for Donald Trump to say, as he has about basically everything that's happened to America in the last decade, that nobody could have seen it coming. But like a decade ago, we probably wouldn't have been able to see it coming that we'd be where we're at. And some of the ways that manifests, I think, are pretty funny. I want to show you just a few seconds of Fox and Friends from this morning. Take a look.
But I don't think he'll have a mugshot because he's not somebody that is people who think he's going to jet out of the country. I think he's going to stay and fight.
He does have a jet.
Eileen Cannon.
That is Fox and Friends, which is, like it or not, one of the most watched news shows in the world, having to like kind of jokingly debate whether the former president of the United States is going to go on the lam over the charges that he's facing. Benny, what do you think?
I mean, okay, first and foremost, like just even the idea that Donald Trump might go to jail at some point is on its face like one of the it's deeply funny, right? Like at the end of the day, it is deeply, deeply funny. Even if you're one of the people that's kind of been frustrated by a lot of people like hyper fixating on like, oh, any day now Donald Trump's gonna go to jail. But like the whole like, oh, Donald Trump might go on the lam, like that's just like, it's just, everything about this is silly, it's funny. Like obviously Donald Trump committed these crimes. And like, I will say it is weird that this hasn't happened more. I mean, the United States isn't like short on corrupt politicians. It's just that Donald Trump really has taken the cake. Like in a country where it's notoriously difficult to get in trouble for any type of corruption or like really anything as an elected official, Donald Trump might actually get in trouble and face some sort of consequence. And so I guess congratulations, Donald Trump, you're number one here. Like,
I know
first, yeah.
The whole thing is wild. Like, I don't know if like I legally could do it, but I really am like, I'm motivated to write a movie. The premise of it is Donald Trump has to like go to his sentencing and he decides, you know what, no. And so he hops like a small private jet to rural Italy and gets a job as a laborer on like an olive farm or something. And then in the style of a Forrest Gump, he just goes from like new life to new life across the world, learning and growing as he evades justice. I think there's something there. I might have to work on that. Maybe a novel, that might be easier. But anyway, the story that will be playing out today is that Donald Trump will be turning himself in. We don't think there's gonna be handcuffing or there's gonna be digital fingerprinting. We don't think there'll be a mugshot. Maybe there'll be going on the lam, we're not sure. Eileen Cannon, by the way, who is going to be overseeing the case until something changes, and we think it might, is not gonna be in charge of what happens today. Duty Magistrate Judge Jonathan Goodman is gonna be overseeing this hearing. It's sort of an administrative thing. Christopher Michael Keese will be representing Trump, the former Florida Solicitor General. So they're saying that Donald Trump has not yet been able to secure new legal representation since his last team ran for the Hills. And look, a lot of people are taking that as an opportunity to like laugh at him, like that nobody will represent him. And I get that, feel free. But also, it definitely looks like that is a time wasting tactic. So Chris Christie had mentioned yesterday during his town hall that they have what's referred to as a rocket docket, which sounds mildly uncomfortable. But anyway, they have a thing in Florida where they do try to expedite cases to the extent that they can. Donald Trump has a lot of incentives to not play ball with that, to try to drag this thing out as much as possible, primarily for the possibility that he could someday pardon himself. But even if he doesn't do that, that he could interfere with things, or he could just pass away from like the accumulated filet of fish that's caking the inside of his arteries. Either way, he's gonna try to slow roll this thing, and saying like, oh boo hoo, I can't find a lawyer is definitely a way to do that. We might dive into some of the others later on this week. But do you have any expectations for how the arraignment will play out?
I honestly have no idea. I feel like with Donald Trump, like that's the thing. With Donald Trump, anything is possible. Like quite literally, like there have been so many instances where you think something's gonna happen and then it doesn't, or you don't expect anything to happen and all of a sudden it does. And so really Donald Trump is the ultimate wild card, especially Donald Trump in courts for some reason. So I don't know. I mean, fingers crossed, best case scenario. I mean, worst case scenario for us libs, right? But Donald Trump, nobody knows your situation better than you do. Maybe consider representing yourself. I don't know. It famously works well.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you need a little bit of help, you can get it from ChatGPT again. But I think he's a smart guy. He's got big brains. Anyway, yeah, I can't necessarily predict what is going to happen. I try not to pre-rule anything out. That is an adaptation I've had to make following January 6th because I did not expect January 6th to get as crazy as it did. I mean, I don't think a lot of people did. There were warnings, certainly, but it didn't seem likely. So I don't rule anything out.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.